Hello everyone, my name is Gene Wright and we're here at the Milwaukee School of Engineering in the Wright School of Business. And today we're going to talk a little bit about, or I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategic plan. And it's really aimed at entrepreneurs, small businesses, and how the strategic plan, how it can move your business forward, or how can your business move forward. And so what I'm going to do is take a very pragmatic approach, a way that comes from my personal experience. So just a quick slide up here where I come from. I spent about 20 of my career years in corporate America in various functions. I started out as an engineer and then worked into management, those kind of things. And then I spent in and out of my own businesses for about 16 years. I had a number of companies, including a manufacturer. I've also done a professional services firm. The Net Concepts Ltd. was actually a company that was in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. So I've done with international small business. Webinova was an all-online professional services firm. Lux Innovation, that list on there, is actually a firm, an organization that we raised $2 million for and never launched. It's a long story, I won't go into it today. And then I'm still active in Wright Innovation, where I do business coaching, and CCD Partners, which is a small business that I have with my brother. I've spent about 28 years of my career. Now, don't add those up because it's I've only been in business for 36 years since graduation from MSOE. I am a 3-time MSOE graduate, but I spent 28 years where my avocation was teaching graduate classes as an adjunct here at the Milwaukee School of Engineering for 23 years so far, and at UW-Milwaukee for a number of years, all in graduate business education. So that's the perspective I'm coming to you from, as someone who is a teacher, but more importantly, someone who has done small business successfully. One business is now owned by Eaton Corporation. Another one is owned by iProspect, which is one of the largest professional services firm dealing with online marketing. And so I've done a little bit of those kind of things, started businesses, bought businesses, sold them, and moved on, and I have worked with other people. So that's the perspective I'm coming from and where I come from to create this content. So when I was asked by the Wisconsin Procurement Institute to do this talk, it was to be very real. It was the idea of what is a strategic plan and what does it need, why do people need it? And I think the biggest thing is what it's not. A strategic plan, it has all the connotations of very MBA, very business school kind of a thing, but when we're looking at a strategic plan from this perspective, it's not a 100, 200-page document detailing everything that happens in a business. It's really not. And even when I've taught strategy class at the graduate level, the idea is it's a plan. It's a set of answers to questions. Strategy is making decisions. It's decisions about your business, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. So a strategic plan is really a written plan which documents the answers to some of the most important questions about your business. And it's a very effective tool that you use in managing your business. It's a tool that you use in selling your business, not only to your customers, but to other key constituencies as well. Partners, suppliers, customers, investors, bankers, they want the facts. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know how you're going to do it. So a strategic plan is really the answers to some of the most important questions that you need to answer for yourself, and also answers to questions that others who have a stake in your success will want to know the answers to. So what the strategy really is a bunch of decisions that you've made about your business. So those are they're documented in the plan, but also these are things you need to think about and you need to really understand about you and what you're doing and what your team is doing and how you're going to do them as you move forward. It's a plan. It doesn't have to be detailed to the nth degree. It just has to be meaningful to you and meaningful to those who care about your business and your success. So the questions that really need to be answered, or the decisions that you need to make. So it's easy to say these things, but there's a lot of thought that has to go into them. Sometimes there's research that goes into it. Sometimes there's background that has to be collected. But in this case, the answers to the questions are documented in the plan. And they're the who, what, why, when, where, how much, those kinds of questions. They don't need to be any particular order. There's no magic. There's no format. Depending on who you're talking to, some people want to see the numbers first. Some people want to see who the customer is first. Some people want to understand the product or the service. But the idea is you have to have all of these answers to move forward. And there are many more things that could be included. What I'm going to talk about here are the types of things that need to be understood by you and the people delivering your product, your service. You need to understand these. You need to understand where they came from and why they're important, but you also need to know them for your stakeholders as well. So, not in any particular order, I'm going to go through a number of these questions and give you a little bit of information about what you're supposed to be talking about. So how? One of the big important things that you need to think about, you need to work on, you need to develop, and put it into your plan is how you're different than your competitors. Everybody wants to know, when I say everybody, bankers, investors, customers, when they want to know why you're different. They don't want to know that you're the same as, but we're friendlier or we're cheaper. That may be a strategy, but generally they want to know how you're different. What do you do different than everybody else? The definition of an entrepreneur is not someone who does something the way everybody else does, but how you do something different, how you do something more efficiently was the way it started out. The other how part is how are you going to reach your goals? We haven't talked about goals yet, but the how you're going to reach your goals, your insight, your decisions, your understanding, and the fact that you can articulate how you're going to reach your goals is very important. Another one that's involved in the numbers side of the business is how will you pay for your business? How will you have the cash to operate? Do you need a large investment? Will you have a large capital structure? But how are you going to pay for your business? How are you going to move forward with this? How are you going to move forward maybe without a salary or any kind of revenue coming in for a while? People want to know that they're putting their faith, their understanding, maybe part of their future. If they're investing in you some way, they want to know how much it's going to cost and how it's going to be paid for. How will you pay for growth? So once you've established the business and then you start rolling and then you need to grow the business, you're going to need additional resources, people, space, warehouse, product, any of those kind of things. Are you not only ready to start your business and to operate your business, but are you prepared to grow? So how will you pay for growth? If you're counting just on revenue, sometimes you may fall short because growth sometimes requires a significant investment, and you need to think about that. How will you grow? Is it a plan for you to grow to a certain point? Can you scale is a term that's often used. And why will you grow? What are the customers getting from you that they're not getting from somebody else? What gives you the privilege to grow a business in a very difficult, competitive environment? So these are some of the hows that you can include in your plan. If you don't document them in detail, at least understand a lot of people are going to wonder about these kinds of things. We'll move on to what. What business are you in? What do you do? What do you provide? Is it a service? Is it a product? Is it a mixture of them? Is it delivered online? Is it a combination of information and maybe a tangible product and then some intangible products? What is it that you do? What business are you in? What do you provide? The way that a lot of people need to understand this, because it brings in the essence of the customer as well as competition, is what value do you deliver to the customer? What value do you create? A business creates value. A good business creates value. It solves problems. It helps other people, whether they're buying a product from you that helps them make other products, like an original equipment manufacturer. Do you provide a service that helps somebody else do something better? What is it that you do? How do you create value? What are they paying for? What are your key measurable goals? When you're building a plan, you have to set out with an idea of what your goals are, how big you're going to be, how much profit you expect to generate. Many of the things are financial, some are operational, but what are those key measurable goals? When I talk to small businesses and I want to know if they're going to be successful, I want to know if they've thought about it. I want to know if they've thought about how big they are, how big they want to be, how big they'll be in 5 years, how profitable they'll be. I want to know what their goals are, and can they measure them? Sometimes people say, I want to be the best, or we're going to be the leading. What does that mean? You have to have that defined, because if you're going to build a plan to get there, if you're going to have a roadmap, which is a lot of times what a strategic plan is, you have to know where you're starting and you have to know where you're going. And a lot of times those are goals. What are your goals? Your measurable goals. I like to also look at it, what does success look like? What does it look like to you? If I'm investing in a business in a lot of different ways, whether it's money, time, expertise, attention, or if I'm partnering with you, I want to know what you feel success is and how you define winning. How are you going to win in this competitive marketplace, in this competitive environment, this global competitive environment? What does success look like to you? And let's see if our feelings are in sync. Let me see if we understand one another. Those things are important. So these are some of the key what questions that your plan needs to describe or define or document. These are key things, and believe me, I've been asked these questions, and I ask these questions all the time. And if you don't know and you haven't thought about them, you're in trouble. So make sure you can answer these kinds of questions. Now the why. Sometimes, and I'm one of them, I think why is very important. Why are you in business? And what is it that you're doing? Is this something that you're passionate about? You feel it's important to you? Do you bring yourself into this? It's often referred to as the why. Guy Kawasaki, who's kind of famous at Apple and written a number of books, he talks about making mantra. It's about being and delivering some very special kinds of values, doing things in a way that means it's very important to you, whether you're caring for children or pets or animals, or creating products or processes or services in a way that's very special, highly ethical, whatever those kinds of things are. Why are you in business? Are you just there to get rich? Not a good reason. It's about something that's important to you. And why is this important? Your why. Why is it important to your customer? Are you very green? Are you very sustainable? What are those kinds of things that are inspiring, that are driving you? Help me understand what drives you, and then we can move from there. I want to recommend a book. It's called Simon Sinek, and it's called Start With Why. If you don't want to read the whole book, you can also watch the TED Talk. He does some great things in the TED Talk. Just Google How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And there's already 23 million plus views out there. It's a good story. Not a great quality video, but it is a great story, and it talks about the why. It uses Apple and a few other companies. It talks about why they're special, how they became the most valuable company on earth. In some cases, you might want to look at it that way. But the why is the driver. The why is the motivation. The why is the stick-to-itiveness that people are looking for. The who. Who's on your team? And who's on your team, and what do they bring to businesses and to customers? The other who, very important who, especially when it relates to marketing, is who is your ideal customer? Who are you targeting? Who will be the recipient of your services, your products, your value? Why do they want your product? Where are they? Another W. What do they want? Another W. Who are your competitors? Another who question. All of these kind of things are very important. Another great book that I can recommend, very practical, not a marketing text by any means, but it has a lot of good information. It is called Duct Tape Marketing. It takes the concept of the ideal customer and breaks it into brand and a few other key things, and it'll help you answer those questions very well. When? When is important? When do you expect to make a profit? When do you expect to get your first sale, your second sale? When will you start repeating sales? Very important in your plan. When do you expect those kind of things so you can manage them? When will you accomplish and reach your major milestones? Which means you have to establish those milestones. When will you reach your key goals? Great evidence, great planning has that understanding of when you reach goals. Not just what they are, that you can measure them, but that you have a when in mind so that you can work backwards. How much? Key thing in business is how much will its success cost? How much will you sell, your revenue? When will it come in? How much profit will you make? How much gross profit? How much net profit? All of those kind of things. What would it cost to run your business? The how much is very important. Another book, a small book, wonderful book, not an accounting textbook. It's called Managing by the Numbers. It's a very good book that talks about a lot of the financial aspects. Bankers and those types of people will ask for income statements, balance sheets, and cash flow analysis. But the how much, very important. Just a couple more things. In the summary, I just want to put this in front of you, is that your plan, your strategic plan, should define or state your goals. What are your goals for this business? They should be SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. That's the acronym. How do you plan to achieve your SMART goals? Why are you in business? Who are your customers? What value do you bring to customers? How are you different than your competitors? How much will your plan cost? How much will your plan deliver? And when will you achieve your SMART goals? If you answer these questions and some of the other ones that were on the slides, you will have a great strategic plan. And it shouldn't be very many pages at all. You may have months of thinking and contemplating and research to get to those answers, but the plan itself, it'll give you a great roadmap, and I guarantee you'll get there. If I can be of help to you, contact me by email. It's probably a good way to do it. Wright at MSOE.edu. Thank you for your attention. Good luck, and I look forward to reading about you in the Fortune 100 someday. Take care and God bless.